For week 9, discussion 5, I chose to explain the connection between cardiac conduction system and EKG. And my diagram shows the cycle, so it has the hearts and what happens in the hearts, and then it also shows what happens on the EKG graph once it comes up for those cycles. So the cardiac conduction system is made up of the internal pacemaker and the nerve-like conduction pathway that are through the myocardium. And the system conducts rhythmic electrical signals. The electrocardiogram can detect electrical currents in the heart through electrodes or leads that are applied on the skin, on the wrist, ankles, and 6 locations on the chest. The electrocardiogram is a comprehensive image of the heart's electrical activity, and there's 3 key factors in the electrocardiogram, which are P waves, QRS complex, and T waves. In the first cycle, so this one right here, the atria begins to depolarize and the blood flows down into the SA node, where its excitation spreads through the arterial myocardium, and this starts the P wave on the electrocardiograph. So the blood is flowing down into the atrial, and then that created that P wave on that graph. In the second cycle, the atrial depolarizes and it is complete, and it adds the extra part of the line on the graph to show the contraction and relaxation. So it went up for the P wave, and then now it's at that base again because it was done contracting. And then in the third picture, it shows the AV node firing, which causes the graph to start the QRS complex. And the Q starts at the bottom and the R is at the top. And in the next cycle, it'll have the S. And these are produced when signals from the AV node spread through the ventricle myocardium. The Q is at the bottom and the R is at the top, or the peak. And then in the next cycle, where it finishes that QRS complex, it includes the ventricle depolarization, and the S is back at the bottom right here by the Q. Then in the 5th slide, the ventricle repolarization begins at the apex and moves or flows upwards. And the T waves are generated by the ventricle repolarization before the relaxation part. And they have a more rounded peak, like a hill. So it started from down here at the apex and is moving upwards or flowing up. And we now have the P, the Q, and the R, and the S, and the T that's like a hill. So it doesn't have a sharp point, it's just like a rounded top. And then lastly, we have the ventricle repolarization, and it's complete and it's ready to start the next cycle. So we have all the P, Q, R, S, T now, and it is back, and it's not contracting. So it is relaxing to be able to start another phase, another cycle.